Hello, my name is Matthew, and about a week ago I read Death in Venice by Thomas Mann, and I had the day off and I thought I would talk about it. The reason that I read Death in Venice is actually I was looking at some books online and saw that there was a new collection of short stories with a new translation, a new hardbound, looks like a beautiful book. And my first instinct is, oh, I love Thomas Mann. I should order this book, which has been my mindset for so many years. But now I'm trying to condense my book collection. I don't want just any old book. And I thought, I haven't picked up a short story by Thomas Mann in ages. So before I just run off and buy a new book, why don't I read some of these short stories? If it turns out that I love them all over again, um, then I would buy the book. So I just, about a week ago, read Death in Venice, and it's our main character, Gustav Aschenbach, or von Aschenbach, however you say that. And it has this familiar beginning where we have a main character who is kind of lost, wandering, has wandering thoughts and directionless, and decides to go on a trip. We see this very similarly in actually the Magic Mountain, where we have that tremendous train scene through the mountains. It's the beginning of the book. Hans Castorp, as he ascends up to the Magic Mountain. I absolutely love the beginning of that. Also, in Moby Dick, where when Ishmael gets into the mood to start tipping hats off, and the crowd knows that his soul is driving him towards the ocean. And here we have Aschenbach um, wanting to leave Munich, and he decides to go to Venice. And something that you see much more prevalent in modernist writers and books is that interior monologue. You see it in Joyce. I think Samuel Beckett does it brilliantly. Proust as well. And I think it's utilized so well in this short story. We get the description of this trip, and eventually we're just in this character's mind, what he's thinking about. And what makes it so effective is that traveling, especially before there was technology or um, devices, cell phones that can distract you and while away the time. Traveling really is a full of these pregnant moments of inner thought when you're waiting for the train or looking for your terminal, especially when you're alone. And this book describes loneliness in a truly heartbreaking way. This isn't a book. It's called Death in Venice, but isn't a book about a character that is having a beautiful Italian holiday, describing all of the wonders and marvels of the city of Venice, all of the canals, and instead we get rather mundane descriptions of just pragmatic things that have to happen. Waiting around, getting in a gondola, having your belongings, and what hotel are you going to be in, and all the time our character is just alone. He's he's ruminating over over his life, and also the meaning of his life, the past, and where he's found himself, what's his future going to look like, um, and this loneliness in this translation is translated by Low Porter, H.T. Low Porter. Aschenbach is often described simply as the solitary. Eventually, he's in a little Venetian resort, and he sees a young boy, very young, prepubescent, not a man at all, a young boy with his family, and he becomes infatuated with this young boy, obsessed with gazing upon him. And it is a description of gay love or gay obsession. But it's not just that it's a homosexual fantasy. It's also that the boy is quite young. And to me, what goes on display is just in his mind, and the despairing spiral that this poor solitary goes through is just something that's forbidden from him, something that he's never going to have, whether it's right or wrong. It's just crushing his soul, and punctuating the loneliness that he's already found himself in. And what's in contrast is all the time that he's just by himself. He has his whole day revolving around, unbeknownst to the young boy or his family, his whole day revolves around their schedule, and placing himself at different cafes or different parts of the beach where he can just be this silent observer. And it's sad. What is in contrast to that is the full, vibrant life that we see, not with just the young boy, but the family. They're on vacation. They're on holiday. They're doing things. There's one scene where our solitary man just goes through an absolute tizzy when he's where he's supposed to be, but the young boy hasn't appeared, and he's in a panic. Did they leave? Is their vacation over? And they just went on a trip somewhere. They're just living their life. There's much more, of course, when you're reading Thomas Mann. Absolutely crushingly brilliant writer. There's very few writers that I find to be as impressive in the depth of thought, the way that he can describe philosophy or psychological elements, or tying in grander scopes of things like history, and it's just incredibly impressive. And there's a lot going on in the story. But something, I'll end on a more humorous note. It's almost as if there's actually two obsessions in this book. We have the young boy, of course, but the other one is his luggage. And at a certain point, thinking about the story, and as I was reading it, every time the luggage gets mentioned, I found it hysterical, unintentionally hysterical, I'm sure, Because, of course, in reality, if you're traveling, or even if you're not, your belongings, but if you're traveling, it's vital that you have your luggage. It has all of your effects. If your luggage goes missing, it can completely ruin a trip, of course. But the fact that it's constantly a focal point of the story, when there's the unlicensed gondolier and he's nearly getting scammed with, getting scammed with the gondolier, and he's arguing about his luggage. Oh, can I bring my luggage? And the point where he leaves, tries to leave Venice, and they lose his luggage. He's, what about my luggage? And uh, he's constantly talking about his luggage. But I just found very funny. It's Death in Venice with his two great obsessions: a young boy and his luggage. And I might move on to some other short stories. I've since moved on to read other things. But yeah, I'm very happy that I read it again. This is a great translation. So, Death in Venice by Thomas Mann. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know what you think. So thank you for watching, and please leave a comment if you would like, and take care.